What up, all webheads? It's your host, Griever, as always, bringing you guys a movie review. I haven't done a movie review in quite a long time, but I'm telling you right now, because you know from the title, last week, I got to go see Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, or Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And I wanted to do, this is actually going to probably be a relatively short review about it, because honestly, I don't have any points that I don't think aren't already made. There's nothing super obvious. This movie didn't get a lot of backlash. It didn't get a lot of praise. It's just, it got mixed reviews. It was like, yeah, it's all right. It's a worthy sequel. It's not great, but it's not bad. And, you know, everyone's just sort of, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. So there's nothing really to harp on or have a controversial opinion about. But I will say a few things that I enjoyed and a few things that I disliked. If you want my opinion just right off the bat, I think the first one was better than this one. Though I'm a huge fan of Carnage, and I like what they tried to do with the plot here with Carnage and everything. In general, I really think that the first one was better. Maybe it's because they finally got Venom right for the first time in a Hollywood screening. Because unfortunately in Spider-Man 3 that was a big so maybe it's still the hype of having that and the references to that. But I had a few problems with the original Venom as well. And they sort of bleed over into this plot line where Venom is a loser. I don't like that plot line. I don't like that change from the comics or the animated show, which actually was confirmed that Andy Serkis did draw a lot of inspiration from the Venom saga of the 90s cartoon. So knowing that, I'm even a little bit more disappointed that there wasn't more of the same from the 90s, right? So there is that part of it. I did not like the fact that Venom was the loser of his planet sort of idea. That was never really a big thing. So, but yeah, so spoiler warnings ahead, I guess. Spoiler warnings ahead. I assume you guys know this because it's a review, right? And the movie's been out in theaters for a while. So, yeah, so why don't we just go in a small order here. The casting was fantastic. I have zero problem with the casting. I thought the casting was great. We have the possibility of Toxic or Toxin or whatever he's called. I wasn't a big fan of him anyway, so it's like, oh, that's the thing. But yeah, the casting, we have the returning casting of the girlfriend of the bride of Venom and stuff, the She-Venom. That was pretty cool. I forget her actress name. Tom Hardy, once again. Tom Hardy does an amazing job. Tom Hardy steals the show once again, though I will argue, Woody Harrelson looks like Cletus Cassidy. Not so much at the teaser, the cameo with the wig at the end of the first one, but where they actually, dyed the hair and they styled it. You can tell this was, once again, an inspiration from the 90s cartoon, which is my growing up with Carnage. That's how Carnage was for me. Definitely saw that, enjoyed that kind of deal, right? So I think Woody Harrelson, and I think he, in the scenes that they were in, I think he almost outshone Tom Hardy in his interpretation of Cletus Cassidy. He did a fantastic, and in his scenes outside of it, he stole the show. But the good thing was, we had very few scenes that didn't have either Woody Harrelson or Tom Hardy in it. So, with that being the case, every scene felt like there was something there to really watch, to really absorb, So, casting-wise, done very, very well. Shriek was fine and everything too, right? I never really, Shriek to me, she's there for more of a plot device. Not that I really minded it, I guess. A little bit of a change up from the original. The plot we sort of knew where it was going to go and stuff. But that's actually one of the things that we could talk about that I think gets the mixed reviews. The plot seems a little contrived, a little bit rushed, and not a huge enough of a payoff. The final battle was a little dark and a little less of what I sort of wanted. I don't really know what I expected from a final battle, but I've heard people saying, I just can't put my finger on it. What was wrong with this big Venom versus Carnage thing? It was supposed to be really epic. There was the big blows and everything, and the sound was involved and stuff like that. And fire was involved in stuff. I wish they brought up the fact that Carnage is more, I like the fact that Shriek or whatever was using sound and it was hurting, and Carnage was sort of like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, that's ironic. Her power is sound. She can't use it around him sort of idea, right? So I did like that aspect. That was a very cool niche to put Shriek as Cletus Cassidy's girlfriend. I don't remember that from the comics at any point, nor do I remember it from, it was certainly not in the 90s cartoon adaptation, but maybe that was a storyline in the comics that I'm just forgetting. But if it was a choice on the creative team's part for the movie, I think it was a cool choice. If you're going to give Cletus Cassidy a girlfriend, I think that was an excellent choice. Little psycho, having the sound power, etc., right? So I did enjoy that aspect. But yeah, the final battle was sort of like, I still can't put my finger on what was wrong with it. One big thing that I miss, one problem with this Carnage is that he needed to be a little more red. We needed to see more of the red, more of the jaggedness. He sort of just looked like a reddish black Venom rather than being sort of his own uniqueness. I didn't see enough uniqueness in his, he should have had the big black teeth, you know, that kind of idea and stuff, and you couldn't really tell that he had that at certain angles and stuff. I feel like they could have worked on the design a little bit more, but it's still fine. It still looks good. I think they nailed it with Venom, but Carnage could have used a little bit more work, a little bit more. You know what, why don't we tweak this a little bit? Why don't we tweak the contrast? Why don't we tweak, you know, the design on the face? Why don't we do a few more things? The other thing was, where was the laugh? See, Carnage is basically like the Joker. He had a laugh. He was always laughing. He was always... It
wasn't that funny.
You know, that's what he was always doing, right? He was always making himself laugh. He wasn't telling jokes like the Joker. He wasn't really that funny. Once in a while, he would have a one-liner, but for the most part, he was just swinging around laughing. He wouldn't roar. He would laugh a lot. Like, he would roar, but mostly he would, like, be evil and then laugh, be evil, then laugh. Like, that was his sort of shtick. And at no point in the entire movie do I remember the Carnage symbiote laughing. At any point. And that'd be like having a Joker movie with a well-cast Joker, the right look, and just never laughing once. That would be kind of weird. Like, even Heath Ledger didn't laugh quite enough, I feel like, even though, like, everyone's like, oh, that's blasphemy. You got to talk about Heath Ledger as the GOAT. And he is, but there wasn't quite enough of him doing the laugh. But he did laugh in a few key scenes. I don't think Carnage laughed once. There was no maniacal laugh even in one scene, and I feel like it should have been there. Him growing to these large proportions also made no sense. You know, like, I don't really remember that stuff. That might have been in Maximum Carnage. I don't think it was. Like, why? Like, see, some of the problems with the movie, like, overall, once again, I think the movie was good. I think it was a worthy sequel, and I think the casting was fantastic. But for the most part, and I will go buy it, and I'll go watch it again. I would definitely watch Venom and Venom 2 again. The thing is that these key little things that just sort of bothered me. Like, for example, the Venom being a loser on his own planet thing was something that took away from the original Venom movie for me. And then the problem is not only that, not only do we do that, and I don't buy that from the get-go in the first one, but the movie was so good anyways, and I'm like, okay, that's just a nitpick. It bleeds over into this one to the point that makes no sense. Basically, if Venom's such a loser, how the hell did... Because they don't talk about the reproduction, like the original version of Carnage and stuff, it's a reproduction of Venom. He produces asexually, like a starfish or Godzilla, right? So Venom creates his offspring. Not that they can't be as powerful, but he creates his offspring with asexual reproduction. In this movie, that's not the case. He eats a bit of his blood because he bites down on Eddie Brock, you know, and he takes it in, blah, blah, blah. And then in the final battle, Venom shows up and goes, oh, it's a red one. I can't beat that. Well, wait a minute now. You're the parent. He got a little couple of your cells, and he's somehow beyond you? Like, it didn't make sense to me. It did not make sense that Venom wouldn't be like, because the original idea, like in the 90s, was, you might be our spawn. That doesn't mean we won't destroy you, you know, sort of idea. Like, Venom was the one, like, you're not stronger than me, pal. I might have made you, but I feel no attachment to you. If you go against what I'm trying to do, I'm going to fight you. That was the idea. So making Venom a loser in the first movie, which I had a problem with, bleeds into this one to the point of making a plot point that I would argue makes no sense. Carnage still came from Venom like he was supposed to, but for some reason he's a red one and he's stronger because we still want Venom to be the underdog loser for some reason. Even though they had the bonding and the references to the lethal predator and all that stuff. So, I don't know. Like, see, these are just little nitpicks. These are a few nitpicks that actually bothered me about the movie. But overall, as I said, I liked the movie. I thought the pacing was fine. The plot was a little contrived, but overall, a good plot. I enjoyed it. And the post-credit scene, I mean, that's the big thing. The post-credit scene is telling us that Sony is once again, let's mesh this together. Let's mesh this together. I think Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be like, or whatever it is, the new Spider-Man movie is just going to be filled with an ensemble cast, and we're just getting these little nuggets of information. Like, it's sort of like Venom 2 was just setting up for the even bigger thing at the end, you know what I mean? So, but the post-credit scene is amazing because it gives us a lot of hype built around that Tom Hardy's Venom is nowhere near done. We're going to see more Venom, and definitely hope we see Woody Harrelson back, even though, spoiler alert, he dies at the end of the movie. I really enjoyed Carnage, and I'd like to see more of Woody Harrelson as Carnage. I don't want him to just be a one-off. We got our first show of Carnage on the big screen ever, and I want them to flesh him out a little bit more, you know, because he was well cast. He was well done, and I think with a little tweaking, he could be even better. So I'm hoping that because of Doctor Strange and, you know, that we can have Woody Harrelson back as well. I'm hoping for that. But what did you guys think of the movie? Did you go see Venom 2? Were you excited for it? Did you disapprove of it? Did you like it more than I did? Did you like it better or worse than the first one, or about the same? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, drink responsibly. As always, we will see you guys back here next time for the next time we go see a movie, maybe in 2022. All right, see you later.